Hello and welcome. I'm Martin from Martin Diving Service, and I'm going to take you under the hull and underwater on the boat Outbound. So let's begin. As we plunge underwater, we are looking at the left side transom and waterline. It is in good shape. This is the part of the boat that gets the most sunlight, but you can see that there's a lot of paint still remaining on the boat. And we encounter our first component, which is the light. The underwater light, the transom has three of them. This is the left. There's a medial and a right side, and as you'll see, they are all in great shape. This part over here provides the trimming function for the boat, and it is also in good shape. They have a tendency to have bottom paint kind of sloughing off on the component corners, but that's no issue, and we do maintain it well. As we proceed here, we're taking a look at the transom bracket where it mounts to the transom. There are two arms, and both arms are protected by zincs. These zincs are in good working order, and as you'll see, there is no galvanic corrosion whatsoever. This little white spot is adhesive glue. It's a bit like silicone, and it just is protruding off of that transom tab. That's no issue, not one indicia of actual corrosion. These yellow parts is just little areas where the bottom paint is sloughing off. So as you can see here, that's one zinc, and the second zinc is in view right here. So they both have good meat on them. These zincs will be planned to be replaced by next month. This articulating arm over here is in good working order. If I can scroll it into view. And let's proceed on. So just a little bit of bottom paint that it is sloughing off. It is natural to these transom arms, these swim bracket arms, and it is in wonderful shape. This is the Maddox zinc system, and it is installed, as you can see, on the transom. It is important to maintain its cleanliness as to not having any debris accumulating on it, because it does have some sort of function with the electron exchange with the water in the vessel. So, as we can see, it is free of debris and in good shape. Here is another part of the transom swim bracket. No corrosion whatsoever. And the Volvo Penta box in good shape. Here is bracket number 2, or the starboard side bracket, the articulating arm, free of all debris. And this is, for all intents and purposes, in wonderful shape. Arm number 1, arm number 2, no corrosion. Corrosion, if you would look closely, typically builds up around the articulating arms at first, or the fine metal pieces. As you can see here, there's zero corrosion. It is a well-protected boat, and it is a well-maintained boat. You must have a good diver. So here you have the other zinc, and this is the second zinc that we plan on changing out next month. So it looks just like this one right here. And there's plenty of meat left, but we do like to change it when it gets around this state. Here we have the second trim box on the starboard side. Wonderful looking shape. The light that we have. And let's go ahead and refer back to the medial light. Excuse the scrubbing. So there's the medial light. No corrosion, no indication of galvanic leaking. And there's a closer look just to give you a better idea right there. Great shape. You try to maintain the bottom paint as much as possible. And the bottom paint on this vessel is looking great. Here we have our first IPS pod. The maintenance and the operation of this vessel has been done well, and all of the pedals of this IPS pod are unbent and are in good working order. There are patches of the prop speed sloughing off, and that is inherent to older prop speed. And that is just something that needs to be recoded over time, but not something that we can't deal with as divers. Here we see the cone is also coated with prop speed, which is a beautiful feature of this boat. Don't see that in many boats. And yeah, wonderful vessel. Clear of debris and obstruction. Unexperienced divers typically will neglect this zone of the hull, and on IPS boats, IPS drive functioning boats, this is important to clear up. And if it's not cleared up, an unexperienced diver might neglect this, and it could lead to a sharp oyster piercing the hull, compromising and degrading the integrity of the hull. Here is the port side IPS. What we'll do here is do a quick inspection of the exhaust. And what we see with that is there's no red indicator debris coming out, which is important. As we can see here, there's a closer look of the prop speed sloughing off, but that, again, is inherent to prop speed over time. And there's a bigger lesion here and there, but really these are minor features, minor issues with prop speed. What we touched right here is what is known as a cavitation lesion. And so when the vessel is in operation, little bubbles will form at higher speeds, and the cavitation bubbles will lead to really high temperatures and will lead to a lesion like this that will typically form on prop speed coated propeller blades. Prop speed is there just so it reduces the necessity of needing really a scrubbing if you're out in the field and you don't have access to a diver. The major debris would just slough off. These are the most meticulous components to review, and we'll go through that. Yeah, that is a lesion right here that we took a closer look at. And then we'll approach the starboard side through hull, major through hull. We're taking a look at it and also doing a bubble test, which with the bubble test, we'd like to make sure that all the bubbles are penetrating and actually going through the fingers of the shielding for the through hull. And then as we proceed on, we take a look at the rest of the through hulls here, all looking good. What we do want to see in an inspection is that there is no bonding issues. And bonding issues are evident when there is a discoloration around the perimeter of the through hull itself. Here we see that there is no discoloration and that the through hull, the through hull covering, it does not experience a discoloration with the hull bottom paint on the foreground. It is in perfect condition, and there is really no complaints to this. Here we see another component that I think has some sort of feature of water exchange or heat exchange, but we do our best to maintain this such that the fingers are all cleaned and free of debris. We approach the starboard side waterline, taking a little bit of an in-depth look at a through hull on the waterline, free of the obstruction. Unlike the actual water itself, we'll just make our way through and take a glance at the way the bottom looks, and the bottom paint is in really nice shape, but that is typical for bottom paint, not bottom paint that is conditioned over time, and that is really where it begins to do that, or at the smaller fine edges. But as you can see, all the rest is in good shape. Just a beautiful boat. Let's proceed on to the port side, otherwise known as the left side of the boat. We'll take a little bit of time to get to our next components while we make a stop here on the port side waterline through hull, free of obstruction and in beautiful shape. Take a closer look at that. And then as we approach here, we'll take a look at the other through hulls. There's one right there. It has a little bit of this silicone that is dangling off. It's not an issue, but it's probably what the boatyard did to ensure that the seal was done tightly and securely. And we'll do another bubble test here, and let's just make that smooth and be able to see that bubble test. There. All right, as we'll get near the end of this video, take one last look of this beautiful underwater light It's just very nice to see it in this shape and condition. So we'll take one glance at the bottom of this trim tab, or this trimming component. It's important to have this component be unobstructed of any debris, which we do a meticulous job at making sure that is the case. One last glance at the IPS port side pod as we make it up to the surface here. All right. And that is the underwater inspection for Outbound. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me at 949-836-7195, or you can visit us at martindivingservice.com. Our email is newport@martindivingservice.com. I hope you have a wonderful day and smooth sailing. Take care now. Bye.